Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today, I'm going to be featuring this really easy fish recipe that even if you're very new to cooking, you can master. Yet, it's really tasty and good enough for more experienced or gourmet cooks to enjoy as well. And in order to complete this meal, I will also show you a simplified French green bean almondine recipe at the end of the video. And the links for all the printable recipes I will be mentioning will be posted in the description below the YouTube thumbnail. And just before getting started, if you're new to my channel, I'd like to mention that for each option, I will provide separate macronutrient ratios so that you can choose what to make with your meal or how to mix and match your recipe. And now to begin the entree. The macronutrient ratio for the lemon basil cod is 1.6 to 1 with 4.2 grams of total carbs, 1 gram of dietary fiber, resulting in 3.2 grams of net carbs per serving. A specific thing that I'm really proud of with this recipe, it's based completely on clean whole food ingredients, which are the best kind of ingredients to use when cooking, and are pretty standard ingredients that can easily be found in your grocery store. If you're making this the same day as you're preparing it, preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or about 200 degrees Celsius. The first thing that I like to make is the seasoned butter. I usually like to make my seasoned butter the night or the day before because that will allow the seasonings and other ingredients to infuse the butter, and that enhances the flavor. So to make the seasoned butter, I'm so sorry, the battery ran out and I don't have the footage for the first part of the ingredients I added to the bowl. But to a small bowl, add your room temperature butter, sprinkle the grated parmesan over the butter, add the lemon zest, and after you chiffonade the fresh basil, toss the chopped basil bits into your bowl, and then distribute the grated garlic, add the Dijon mustard and the lemon juice, and lastly, mash with a fork until well combined. The combining of these ingredients may take a minute or two. That's because the fatty butter may not want to blend very easily with the acidic lemon juice and other ingredients. But if you persevere, it will emulsify, so don't give up. And now that you have made your seasoned butter, just set it aside for a moment. As I said, if you can do it the night before, that's best, but at least give it about 30 minutes so that the flavors can infuse. And after setting your seasoned butter aside, the next thing to do would be to lightly grease the bottom and the sides of a small casserole pan that is oven safe. Use that 1 tablespoon of butter to do that with. I always find that it's a really good idea to pat dry my fish or whatever meat before I apply seasoning on it. That's because when the surface is drier, it accepts the seasoning better, and especially with this recipe because you'll be adding butter on top. And then before putting your cod into the casserole dish, season both sides with a sprinkle of pepper and salt. And that's all the prep you have to do to the cod before putting it into the casserole dish. Now it's time to spoon the seasoned butter on top of the fish. Use the back of a spoon to flatten the seasoned butter over the surface of the entire fish so that it's more even. At this point, you can bake the cod right away, or if you're doing this as a meal prep the night before, cover the casserole dish with cling wrap and refrigerate until about 30 minutes before you're ready to bake. Always remember to take the fish or whatever meat out of the refrigerator about 30 minutes before baking. This will allow your fish or any other meat to get to room temperature. And this is important because having the fish or meat at room temperature will ensure that the baking is even all the way through and that you don't have a cold center or too raw center, which would happen if the fish or meat is cold. I almost forgot, so I'd like to remind you to please remove the cling wrap before you put your casserole dish into the middle position of your preheated oven. Then set your timer for about 15 or 20 minutes. As always, this is simply a guideline because your baking time will vary depending on the specific thickness of the fish fillets that you're using, so you may have to modify your timing a bit. I always get asked, how will you know when your fish is done? The way that I test it is I insert a fork into the center and then just move the fork a little bit to see if the fish will flake. If it flakes easily and the fish looks nice and white and the flaked portion looks nice and white all the way through but is still glossy, that's exactly how you want your fish to look like. Now that the fish is done, remove your casserole dish from the oven and let it rest for a few minutes before plating. You can remove the fish out of its juices and put it on a separate plate, but do reserve the drippings. While my fish was baking, I made the optional French green beans with almonds, which is a shortcut version of my green bean almondine recipe. First, fill a pot about halfway with water. Bring the water to a very brisk boil and then add the fresh or frozen trimmed green beans. In some locations, these French green beans are also called snap beans or string beans. Allow your French green beans to cook for about 4 to 5 minutes or until the green beans are at an al dente stage. You don't want to overcook these. You want them to be slightly cooked but still very crispy. And when they've reached that stage, drain the water from the pot and then immediately put the green beans into a very cold water, or better yet, ice water bath. This will shock your green beans, which means that they will remain crispy and keep their nice dark green color. I usually let my green beans soak for a couple minutes to ensure that they're chilled properly, which stops the cooking process. Then just drain the water and put the green beans back into a bowl. Now the shortcut almondine portion. First I season the beans with salt and toss. In a separate small pot, I melt the butter and then add the ground almond flour. Stir well to combine and pour the butter almond mixture over the green beans. And toss everything to combine and coat all of the green beans well. Here's the macronutrient chart for the green beans with almonds. You of course can replace these green beans with any side dish of your choice. If you really want to reduce your carbs, the side dish with the lowest carbs would be a tossed green salad with simple oil and vinegar vinaigrette. And because I find that the flavor of the green beans really complements the lemon basil cod, I like to serve these two dishes together as a meal. And here's the macronutrient chart for 1 serving of the lemon basil cod with the green bean and almonds. And to plate your dinner, serve by first placing the cooked green beans in a half-moon pattern on your plate. Place fillets beside the green beans and then ladle about half of the lemon butter across the fish, and if you like, you can pour some of this over the green beans as well. I prepared my lemon wedges but forgot to serve them, so here would be a good time to put the lemon wedges onto your plate. The color contrast between the green, white, and yellow is very visually appealing. Although you may not have realized this, both the cod and the green beans are excellent cold, therefore make a great take-along lunch for work or school. I hope that you will give this very light-tasting fish recipe a try very soon. I think that too often people on keto or low-carb diets forget to include fish in their meal planning. One last tip, this recipe works really well with any kind of white fish, so you can replace the cod with any of the following white fish, such as mahi, my personal favorite, sole, catfish, haddock, whiting, or tilapia. The delicate taste of the lemon butter goes well with any of these kinds of fish. So if you would like more fish recipes, or you have a particular fish recipe that you like and we could share on this channel, please leave me a comment below. Your suggestions and recommendations are really appreciated. Thank you very much for watching my video. And if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. And to everyone, please turn on your notification bell so that you will know when I post the new recipe.